position their countries, governments, and space agencies as future leaders and customers in low Earth orbit. This 4-person international crew, commanded by Michael Lopez Alegria, includes Italian Air Force Colonel Walter Villadei, Alper Ghezarovauci, who will be the very first Turkish astronaut to go to space, and ESA project astronaut Marcus Want of Sweden. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket will launch the AX-3 crew aboard a Dragon spacecraft from Florida next Wednesday, January 17th at 5:11 p.m. Eastern Time. After around 36 hours of spaceflight, the crew will then dock to the space station at approximately 5:15 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, January 19th. During the mission, the crew will spend up to 14 days aboard the space station conducting more than 30 different experiments and more than 50 outreach events. We are all looking forward to seeing this hardworking crew make history as the first all-European commercial astronaut mission to the International Space Station. In a moment, I will turn it over to the AX-3 crew for their opening remarks. And following remarks, we'll open the line to questions from the media. As always, if you'd like to ask a question, please submit your questions in the chat or use the raise your hand feature. When you're called upon, please state your name, affiliation, and to whom you'd like to direct your question to. The AX-3 crew looks forward to answering your questions. So now let's hear from our commander. LA, over to you.
Thanks, Alexis, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. I'm very proud and pleased to be leading this mission to the International Space Station, which is important not just for the scientific research and technology demonstrations and outreach events that we'll do, but also it's a very important step toward the goal of Axiom Space to have a commercial space station in orbit before the decade is out. A couple words about our training. Of course, we spent the most of it divided between the 2 spacecraft that we'll be spending our time in. At first, the Dragon that Alexis mentioned. We need to live and work healthy and safely aboard those craft. So, of course, we learn how to do things like eat and sleep, but also what to do in case of an emergency, a fire, depressurization, etc. So that training for SpaceX occurred mostly at their facility in Hawthorne, California. For NASA, for the International Space Station, we spent almost all that time at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, again, learning how to live and work aboard, but also what to do in case of something going wrong there as well. And then we had some ancillary training. We had a centrifuge run for all of us to expose ourselves to the G-forces we'll be feeling on both ascent and entry. We did a hyperbaric chamber run, and we did a week-long outdoor leadership course in the Pacific Northwest. So I can tell you with great confidence that this crew is ready to go as of now. We've been in quarantine for a little bit more than a week. We're at L-6 here. We've been focusing on being prepared mentally, physically, and emotionally to go to space. So we spend our time doing payload training, sometimes looking at our timeline. So our timeline is kind of like our to-do list put in chronological order, what we'll be doing every minute of every day while we're on board for those 14 days. We spend time working out, of course, eating well, sleeping well. So really trying to get all 3 corners of that tripod that I mentioned ready for flight. We also have a little bit of time to consider the impact of this mission, not only to ourselves, but also to our loved ones. And that's an important time of self-reflection. In the next couple of days, we'll be going through what's called a dry dress rehearsal. So we'll go to the Kennedy Space Center, get suited up following the exact timeline that we will on launch day. We'll get into the capsule. We'll go through all the pre-flight checks. We'll go through the countdown. Only at T0, nothing will happen. We expect that will be very different 2 days later. That's currently scheduled to occur on Monday, L-2. And on Wednesday, we'll be doing the same thing and ready for launch. So in closing, I'd like to say we're super ready. We're very excited to embark on this mission. I want to thank our partners, first of all, the gentlemen to my left and right and their agencies who put a lot of trust and faith in Axiom Space, as well as our partners, NASA, SpaceX, of course, and the many scientific researchers from around the globe that will be participating in this mission. And before I hand it off to Walter, I want to introduce our 5th crew member. Her name is Gigi. This is her 2nd spaceflight. She represents a collaboration between Axiom Space and Build-A-Bear. and she'll serve as our zero-G indicator. So she'll be in the cockpit, and when we get to space, we'll know it by releasing her and seeing that, in fact, she floats in microgravity. So now let me introduce my friend and steely-eyed pilot, Colonel Walter Villaday of the Italian Air Force.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. It's a privilege and honor to be here today. I'm very happy, excited for the upcoming flight. It's been a long journey, and now this goal is going to become true. So we are going to fly to space. It's been over these months an amazing experience to be in training with these colleagues and very professional astronauts. And I have to say that this mission is very important for Italy. It's a fundamental step in our national space strategy. It's a big opportunity for bringing industries, scientific community, and the institutions in this new chapter of the space exploration, which is the commercial space flight. So I'm very proud. I can't wait to make and implement all the experiments that have been provided over these months for this flight. So it's a huge opportunity. I'm very proud and grateful. This is the main feeling I can really feel in this moment, because as I used to say, astronauts are the tip of the iceberg. So we are here thanks to the vision, the investments, and the beliefs of our countries and institutions. So I'm very grateful to the Italian Air Force, the Ministry of Defense, Italy as a whole. This is a whole of a country mission. But as Mike, as our commander was saying, I'm very grateful to all the people that made this possible. So all our instructors, people from Axiom, from NASA, from SpaceX, we have received a tremendous training. We are ready to fly, and we can't wait to do that. So we are really grateful for such a big opportunity. And I want to now hand over to my friends and crewmate, Colonel Alper Gizerevci from Turkey.
Thanks so much, Walter. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. I'm really happy to meet you again over this purpose. We have been here in our quarantine for over a week, as our commander mentioned, and we are on the verge of the great happiness for the launch day. We are really looking forward to it. We have been training for the last 8 months, and all the way from the beginning, I would like to especially express this great happiness and this great honor to be part of this great team. We have not been mentally, physically ready at the end of the training, but we have already been totally ready. Creating this great harmony. We have felt this harmony in between each other. And I would like to thanks to creating this great harmony environment, bringing us this family environment, even though they are playing a great role, a professional role in the space industry as Axiom Space. We are fully ready for our missions that we have been rigorously training and carrying on, practicing in terms of science. As you know, I'm representing my beautiful country, Turkey, as the first person to go to the space. However, this mission is not only focused on the first man mission, but it's also representing a lot of scientific missions that we are intending to contribute in the science world. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm looking forward to your questions in the following steps. Now, I would like to hand over the microphone and the right to speak to my dear friend from Sweden, ESA astronaut, Marcus Wandt.
Thank you, Alper. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you for joining us. And being here and feeling the atmosphere and the tension and the positive anticipation and just getting closer to the launch is an amazing feeling. We've been training, as you heard, for a long time now, and it's been very intense these months that's led up to this moment. And we've gotten to know each other really well as friends, and we also you can also see and feel the pride from everyone and from their countries and from everyone around us, and that's what I feel as well. The decisiveness and how Sweden came together, and together with ESA and Axiom and all the support from NASA and SpaceX to make this happen is fantastic. I'm so proud to be in the center of that. and being a part of pioneering a new way for Europe to gain access to space and to increase the frequency and the presence of not only European presence, but also European science and the benefit for what we can do here on Earth, and that brings everyone forward. And now the feelings are mostly excitement and joy, actually. And you can see that on the faces and in the eyes of the people around us and within the crew that we're getting close. We're 6 days away, and it's just a tremendous feeling of let's go. With that, I want to thank you all and hand it back to Mike.
I think in turn, I'll hand it back to you, Alexis.
Thank you so much, AX3 crew. Your words and endeavors are really so inspirational. We can't wait to see what more of a difference you'll make while you're in space. So we'll now open the floor to reporter questions. As a reminder, if you have a question, please use the raise your hand feature or submit your questions in the chat. To help keep us moving, please state your name, affiliation, and to whom you'd like to direct your question to. I will also ask questions that were submitted in advance of this event in no particular order. We will now begin one question each. If time allows, I will ask follow-up questions. Thank you for your help in ensuring everyone has an opportunity to ask a question. Shall we begin? All right, we will begin the Q&A portion with Will Robinson Smith. Over to you.
Yes, hi, Will Robinson Smith with Spaceflight Now. Good to see you all, and best of luck next week. Question for Walter. In the training process, did you have the opportunity to chat with John Schaffner and Larry Connor about their experience in piloting the Dragon, and what advice did they happen to offer to you? Thanks.
Thank you for the question. And actually, I've been the backup pilot for John. So we have been in training for X2 together. I really appreciated his professionalism and the commitment in really learning any detail of how to fly the Dragon. And I mean, first he gave me some tips, and especially try to be focused on the screens and enjoy the flight. It's been very, very professional. Their flight was very smooth. So we had the opportunity to work together, and it's been a great privilege to be in train with him. So I look forward to be as a good pilot as he was for Axiom 2.
Thank you, Walter. I'm now going to call on Marcia Den.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes,
Sure can.
I'd like to ask the 3 new space flyers what they are taking from their countries that are symbolic and special. What are you taking from Turkey, Italy, and Sweden that makes us special? Thank you.
Okay, I'll start having the microphone over here. So actually, I'm bringing there are a couple of things I would say. This symbol that really unite all the nation and Italy in its effort to bring together industries, a scientific community, institutions together is, of course, our national flag. So I'm very proud to get with me the national flag and to show the flag either during our experiments and during my on-orbit events with the people downstairs, just to share with them what I'm going to do in space. And the other very important thing is the different experiments that we are bringing to the ISS. So it's really a great opportunity to have scientific experiments to study and deepen some of the topics, along as with experiments from the industry and from the Italian efforts. So I would say the most important values, the mission for us as Italy, is to really exploit this opportunity as a further step to increase our knowledge in space, how to strengthen our capability to access to space. Again, as Marcus was saying, as a part of the European countries and nations. So Italy is a big part in the European community, and I guess we are really working very, very good together. And this is a big opportunity to strengthen the European role as a whole in this new chapter of the space exploration. And what's the next? Alper.
Okay, I'll take over. I'll be taking my family photos, especially my nephew's photos, as well as some symbolic items coming from my background culture from Turkey. That is representing the nomad culture over there, as well as the flight patches on my first Air Force squadron. However, all of our crew members are taking their family photos as well. So I'm happy to see all of our family photos over there as we are so connected to each other. Lastly, we will have some items surprise from Turkey in order to present our worldwide hospitality over there.
Exciting, yeah. Look forward to that. I'm also bringing some family items, but from the national perspective, beside from the flag, I'm bringing a Nobel Prize medal, which is a symbol for science and also spreading the knowledge of science. So, and also since it's the Nobel Prize established in Sweden, it also shows the significance of the Swedish innovation and dedication to science and knowledge progress. That's an important part for me, and that's something I'm very proud of.
Thank you. All right, I'm now going to call on Marcia Melly.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm Marta Melli from SkyTG 24. My question is for Walter Villadei. Good morning, Colonel Villadei. Can you describe us what your activities on the International Space Station will be, a sort of routine day? What are you going to do in a 24 hours on the International Space Station, considering that you have a couple of weeks of activities and staying there? Thanks.
Thank you for the question, Martin. I'm very glad to hear your voice here in quarantine. Actually, as soon as we get to the ISS, we have a pretty tight schedule. The first hours are, of course, used also to get acquainted to this new environment, at least for 3 of us as new flyers. And then each of us has a very specific activity related with the training, with the experiments we are supposed to carry out. The most important thing is that we'll be for the 2 weeks of our flight fully integrated in the expedition crew. So we have to be ready with them to face any nominal condition. But for the most, our training will be a wake up around 6:30 in the morning. We will have a time for our preparation and for setting the daily experiments. And then we have a couple of calls with the ground. So we have a morning daily planning conference. And from that moment on, we will follow our daily plan, implementing our experiments. We will have a daily meal, and then in the end, a dinner. That is the moment where we can really have, as a crew members, a time to spend together. I will have over these 2 weeks some sessions of training, physical training on the ISS, and the other time will be spent trying to get some nice shot from the cupola that is being produced by Italy. So I would say the training, the plan on the ISS it seems to be very interesting, very tight, very intense. 2 weeks of activities that I can't wait to really live.
Now have Rebecca Forsberg.
Yes, hello, my name is Rebecca Forsberg. I'm from the Swedish magazine Popular Astronomy, and my question is obviously to Marcus. Hello, Marcus.
Hello.
So my
Hello, Rebecca.
hello. So I like to congratulate you on being the fastest trained astronaut in history, and I'd like to ask you: are there any parts of the training that did you not expect going into it, and that surprised you?
Maybe not one single thing, but the amount of training that you need to do, even though I knew it when you're actually doing it, training for everyday life things like how to eat or how to put or attach things or things that I haven't tried yet, of course, but I'm looking forward to see the theoretical training in practice when it comes to how to translate and orient yourself. Those things, it's not surprising that they are there, but the amount of training compared to the payload training was a bit surprising.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm really looking forward to try it, though. That will be interesting. I'll tell you all about it afterwards.
Thank you.
forward to hearing about it as well. So thank you. All right, we're now going to have Mimi Moberg on the line.
Hello, Mimi Moberg from Swedish Public Service Television. And so my question is also for Marcus. Marcus, what does it mean to you to do this journey, and what are you mostly looking forward to?
To me, I think it means a lot of things, but one of the things is that I've found a way to be a part of moving our boundaries for knowledge and exploration in a way that stretches over generations, which is something I think I've been subconsciously searching for that for a long time. And it feels like this is exactly what I've been looking for. So that's personally something that means a lot to me. And what I'm mostly looking forward to, a range of things, but two things that stands out is one, getting up to the ISS, getting through the hatch and meeting other people in space, other friends that is living there and working there in a vehicle that we have built and we've been able to put up there and established a continuous presence in space. That will be very strong, I think. And also to float down in the cupola and look down and see the Earth and see the continents without any borders, any artificial boundaries created by us, and just see the possibilities. That I think that would be pretty strong as well.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so
Thank you.
much. All right, now we have John Hassau. Or Can Hassau? Yeah, there we go. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. Can Hasasu, Anadolu Agency. My question will be for Alper Gezer-Avcı. At this flight, what is the specific mission that you have if you do, like at the takeoff? Is there something divided between you and your flight members? And what will be your specific role specifically at the takeoff? And secondly, if that's possible, can I have a short message from you in Turkish for the Turkish people for this first space mission? Thank you.
Hello, John. Thank you for your contribution and for your questions. First of all, as titled in the mission, we are mission specialists. We are, of course, assigned some specific responsibilities during our space flights over to the space station and on the way back, together with Marcus. And other than that, all of our crew members are entitled to certain responsibilities in terms of individual responsibilities over there in ISS. Other than that, as Walter has tried to summarize, we will have our activity list for each single day, which is really scheduled quite a lot of our individual country-related science missions that we will be focusing on. And that's a quick answer to the first question. And for the second, I'm really proud and honored here representing not only myself, but my beautiful country in the name of our future generations. As a person who has served in aviation, both in military and civilian in Turkey, this is crowning my own experience over here, but being a great inspirational source for our future generations. As a person who had to limit his dreams all the way from beginning relating to the space, and which was limited with the sky that I could see with my bare eyes, that is not a result for our future generations. Now their path is open, and this space flight is not a destination of our journey. This is just the beginning of our journey for a long-going space journey in our future. Thank you. Am I allowed? Okay. Türkiye'de bu yani izleme şansı olan bütün vatandaşlarımıza şu mesajı iletmek isterim. Devletimizin vermiş olduğu güçlü kararla gelecek nesillerimizin hayallerini yıllardır perdeleyen bu perdenin açılmasına ve hayallerini artık uzayın derinliklerine eriştirebilecek şekilde başlayacak bir yola vesile olan herkese minnettarım. Devletimizin güçlü kararı ve milletimizin, Kadir Şinas milletimizin imkanlarıyla bu görevi burada gerçekleştiriyoruz. En kısa zamanda bana verilen bu emaneti alnımızın akıyla tekrardan tamamlayıp geri geliyor olacağım. Allah'a ısmarladık.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
those special words, Albert. All right, I'm now going to call on William Harwood.
Oh, hang on just one second. I got to mute a speaker. Here, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, great. Hey, Mike, this is for you. This is your fifth flight. Covered all your voyages to space, and I'm just wondering, given the intensity of training and all of that versus the reward of actually flying in space, how long do you think you would continue doing this? You and Peggy have been sharing the commander's seat, but I'm just wondering, is there some point where you're thinking to yourself that's enough for me, or is it something you want to keep doing for a while? Thanks.
I don't know, Bill, is it enough for you to report on these missions? I mean, look, it's a dream come true for me. I will gladly continue to fly as long as the soul is willing. The soul is willing as long as the body is willing to do so. But seriously, I mean, this is really a privilege for somebody in my position to be able to go back to space, first of all, but especially to lead this very well-prepared and expertly trained group. And it never gets old. I mean, I think I have more appreciation with every launch that approaches. I think you put some of these things in the rearview mirror, and it helps you put them in perspective. And, the first time you go, you're just sort of hanging on for dear life and enjoying the ride. But I think you appreciate each one a little bit more, especially when you realize just how rare an opportunity it is. So I'm happy to keep doing this. Axiom would definitely like to continue doing private astronaut missions. We'll probably have other commanders in the future, but as long as they ask me to fly, my hand will be raised.
Good to hear, Ellen. All right, we now have Massimiliano Bertozzi.
It's Maria Luisa Rossi Hawkins from News Media Set. E la mia domanda è per il colonnello Villadei. Vorrei che rispondesse alla domanda naturalmente in italiano, but first of all, congratulations to all of you. We will follow your journey and we're very excited for the four of you. And it's a great honor to be speaking with you now. Colonnello, oltre a pilotare la navicella, lei sarà anche ambasciatore di tante realtà scientifiche italiane. Come svolgerà questo compito? E poi le chiedo che cosa significa questa missione per lei e per l'Italia.
Thank you, Maria Luisa. I will reply in Italian as you asked. Inizierei dalla seconda domanda. Cosa significa per me? Significa moltissimo, significa un traguardo che arriva dopo tanti anni di addestramento, quindi un lungo viaggio fatto anche di attesa, di aspettativa, di impegno, di concentrazione. Devo dire che arriva in un momento speciale e particolare e questo mi collega un pochino anche alla prima domanda, perché il 2024 è l'anno in cui l'Italia ricorda e celebra in qualche modo i suoi primi 60 anni di attività nello spazio, ed è quindi un po' anche una sensazione di orgoglio e di privilegio anche personale, non solo come ufficiale dell'aeronautica militare, poter essere qui come astronauta insieme a questo straordinario equipaggio ed aprire un pochino quello che è un anno importante per l'Italia nello spazio con questa missione. Quindi è in qualche modo una grande opportunità che corona dal punto di vista personale un percorso molto lungo, ma è un percorso che in questi anni si è sviluppato attraverso il supporto, la presenza, la visione dell'aeronautica militare dell'Italia. Quindi, come dicevo all'inizio senso gli astronauti sono una parte di una comunità molto più larga che non potrebbe fare questo lavoro se non avesse il supporto. Quindi lo vedo come un traguardo e un risultato non solo personale, ma un po' del sistema Italia e del nostro paese.
La ringrazio. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Walter. Would you mind repeating that in English for the English-speaking listeners?
Yes, sure. The question was referred to how somehow I perceive this mission from the personal standpoints and at a larger view as a national part of our effort. My answer was there are two angles that I consider most important. Personally wise, I've been in training for a long time. So this means that is a result coming through after almost 10 years of training. And it's amazing that this opportunity is coming in the year where Italy is going to celebrate its first 60 years in space. So we launched our first satellites in the 64, and we are opening as a crew, as an amazing crew, this important year for Italy flying to the ISS. So I see this as an important result, not only as a personal goal and objective and result, but also as a long pathway that it's been possible just thanks to the vision, the long vision and the determination of the Italian Air Force. And now this mission is becoming an effort and a national mission with so many other actors together. So that was my long answer translated for you in English. Thank you.
And he did a fantastic job.
Make it louder.
Absolutely.
Make this
All
louder.
right, so now we have Kenneth Chain.
Okay, thank you. This is for Marcus. Your mission is a part of ESA and not Sweden in particular. This is something new that ESA is done. Wondering how that came together and sort of the backstory of how you were selected. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yes, yeah, that's correct. It's an ESA mission with, but it's also a Swedish national mission. So this additional flight opportunity came up. I was selected for the ESA astronaut class of 2022, and I was in the reserve. And then this additional flight came up, and Sweden was very decisive in this and came together quickly. Industry, armed forces, the government. And then together to ESA made this happen, of course, together with Axiom. And if Axiom wouldn't have had this option available, it wouldn't happen now. And it's been a great journey to be in the middle of the partnership with ESA and Axiom and finding our ways forward and how that training will be. I've been traveling back and forth quite a lot between US and the European Astronaut Center in Germany and doing a couple of trainings in parallel, which has been very intense, but also a lot of fun and a lot of joy. And to see how positive the attitude have been on all the sides for this to happen, and looking at things and see possibilities rather than problems, and making this new way of getting up, increasing the frequency and increasing the European access to space with the help of the commercialization has been great. And it's been all positive and a lot of learning as well. So and I don't think this is the last time.
Thanks, Marcus. We have an anonymous attendee that has submitted a question in the chat for Alper. The question for you is, what does it feel like to be the very first Turkish astronaut to go to space, and what does that mean to you?
It absolutely feels amazing. You know, we have been long waiting for this mission to come real. And we have already been among 10 countries which is able to construct its own satellites and send to the space. But we have been really looking forward to this mission, which has been put forward as a goal of our country's next 10 years. Space-related goals. So that's just the initiation of one of these 10 goals, and I'm really honored to take this role in this mission and to be able to make it real. As I stated earlier, as the children of this nation, we have been always blocked with the limit of the sky. that we could see with our bare eyes. And now this mission is opening that curtain all the way to the end, and our journey is starting from this moment on. And the geographical location of the world, we have been a really strong country, being proud of our 100 years centennial long history, and this is a beginning of our next centennial future history that we will be real proud of.
Thanks, Alper. And just to add, what is this, being the first astronaut for your country, what do you think this means for the Turkish children and for future generations?
We are one of the youngest median age countries in our geography, and we have a great potential with our country's people. So a great excitement, a great mental power waiting there to get inspired. And I'm really happy to be a role model for those people who are waiting out there with their great potential to be spiked up. And this mission is definitely be an ignition for their great explosion into the future.
You are definitely going to make a big difference, and you are an inspirational impact to your country, and we're so proud. So
Thanks
now
so
I
much.
will call on Marcos Nunez. George. Marcos? Can you hear us?
Hello, this is Marcos Nunez, Professor Marcos from the Space Academy of Mexico. All of you now are in a space mission, in a research mission, science mission, but I am sure you are in the most important mission, an inspirational mission for a boys and girls around all the globe, not just in America. My question is for Commander Michael. In this mission, you and all of you are representing many countries, not only in the spacecraft. You are representing people in a lot of facilities, scientists, engineers, administrators, a lot of people working around of you and support your mission. Do you have some inspirational words for a student in Spain, Mexico, and Latin America? Because we need more people like you in the future. Thank you.
Gracias, Marcos. Look, I think my inspirational words for the children of those countries are no different from those of any other country, and that is just follow your dream. A lot of people ask, what should I do to become an astronaut? I think a better question is, what do I do to make myself happy? If being an astronaut is what's going to make you happy, then go for it. But if you want to be an artist or a poet or a mathematician or a scientist, I mean, you name it, just do what makes your heart tick. I think, first of all, you'll do better at it because you enjoy what you're doing. And secondly, it will bring you joy. And so whether your final destination ends up being in space or in a laboratory or receiving the Nobel Prize for literature, I think it's just about following your passion and doing what brings you the most joy.
Thank you.
Thank you, LA. I'm now going to take a question that was submitted in advance of this event. This one's from Stephanie from Space Quotes. What are your feelings a few days before launch? And this is for each of the crew members to answer.
I'll keep it short and say excitement. This is the countdown clock has started in our minds, and with every second that goes by, it gets more and more real. We feel ready, we feel trained. I think we're in good physical, mental, and emotional condition, and we're just really looking forward to the moment. Walter?
Well, I have to say the same words. I mean, the excitement, it's the main feeling, along with the concentration, because of course, when you fly for the first time, when you do something for the first time, you want to be at the top of your skills, capabilities, performances. So I want to do my best to support the crew. So it's a combination in between excitement. I can't wait for this opportunity, and of course, trying to keep my mind and my posture very focused for this upcoming event.
My answer is a single word, absolutely self-confident. We have been so lucky to have our commander, who is one of the most experienced astronauts of NASA, has been leading us all the way from the beginning of our trainings over here. And he's so calm, so experienced, so full of knowledge, and he's so humble and generous to share all of his wisdom with us. So under his arms, we are feeling absolutely confident all the way from the beginning.
Yeah, I'll just join in all that that's been said earlier, and it's excitement is a very good word as Mike used, and also very confident and feeling that the training has been awesome, and the crew seems very ready to go, which is good, and I feel extremely ready to go as well. So I'm really looking forward to this, to just get into the Dragon on top of the Falcon 9 and see that countdown getting close to 0, and then just hear everything firing up, feel the vibrations, and let's go. Yeah, that's those are the feelings that's running around every minute in my head right now.
Well, we all look forward to seeing you guys go to space. It's a very exciting time. All right, I believe we have a follow-up question from Kan Hasasu.
Yeah, if you hear me, my question will be for Marcus and Alper. I see a ring-like thing on your fingers. Is that something to monitor physically on you guys, or it has some other purpose? The black ring-like thing on your
Alper.
Yeah, that's one of the off-the-shelf products that we have been wearing in order to collect all our data relating to our data performance. And based on these performances, Axiom Space has brought us one of the world's really most proficient exercise instructors, Mr. Emiliano Ventura. He came all the way from Spain, and he has been putting us into this extreme athletic trainings over here. So we will be wearing these for a while more in order to monitor our individual body performances up there in ISS as well.
Thank you. And we have another anonymous question submitted. Oh, sorry, did I completely cut you off, Marcus? I think it's your turn.
No, I would have exactly the same answer because it's the same thing.
Sorry.
So that was good.
All right, sorry about that. We have another anonymous question submitted for LA. How is AX3 helping set the stage for Axiom Station?
Well, like AX1 and AX2 before it, these are what we call precursor missions. So the idea is for us to establish the processes and the organizations operationally within the company to be able to sustain human spaceflight missions. Ancillary to that, we are constantly working with our counterparts at NASA and SpaceX to help establish those relationships and help the organizations work better together. And finally, the idea of opening up space to more entities, more people, more countries, more researchers. I mean, these are things that are fundamental to the establishment of a station, because we want that commercial space station to be a destination not only for the users of the ISS today, but also many more people, as I mentioned, entities, researchers, countries around the world. So we're sort of building the market for those missions in the future. And fundamentally, it really gets back to developing the organic capability within the company to do human spaceflight, which, despite how I hope we make it look easy, is actually very, very complicated.
Thank you, LA. I believe Mimi Moberg has a follow-up question for you, Marcus.
Hello, Ben. So can you please tell me, Marcus, is there anything that you are worried about or afraid of regarding this trip?
No, there's nothing I'm afraid of. I can answer that right away. I'm not worried about anything either, but it's a compressed timeline. We have a lot of things that we need to do and accomplish up there, and I'm really looking forward to that. What I am trying to reiterate to myself is to preserve some time to just absorb and be present up in space as well, and not just get all the data. So I guess it's not a real worry because I've allocated time for it, but I also wanted to be able to, well, to absorb and just be there and try to bring that back and communicate that afterwards.
Lycka till.
Tack så mycket.
Thank you. All right, this one's for all the crew members. From Jonathan Seri from Fox News. Which experiment or study on this mission excites you the most and why?
Well, I can take a crack at it. We're actually doing a couple of different experiments from two different organizations related to stem cell research. One is the National Stem Cell Foundation. The other one is the Stanford Stem Cell Institute. And both have to do with organoids. Organoids are three-dimensional aggregates of cells. And in one case, they're looking at the possible deterioration. Well, in both cases, they're looking at how these organoids behave in microgravity, which we'll do through microscopy. But in one case, we're looking at how cells from brain stem cells of patients who have some sort of mental degeneration like Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis. And in the other, we're looking at cells that may give us clues about cancer. So what sort of things can we detect to help either prevent or eventually treat these things? So obviously, these are very weighty and important considerations for improving health across the world. And as a result, I'm pretty proud that Axiom is leading the charge in that way in microgravity science.
Yeah, actually, there are a couple of experiments. I would say, from the scientific standpoint, the experiments provided by the Italian Space Agency, beta amyloid and Prometeo are experiments that are looking at how the microgravity could affect some of the processes that can create some neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. They are focused in trying to identify some potential solution or countermeasures to reduce these effects. And to me, it's very interesting because, of course, it can open up a wider range of cures on the ground, but even to prevent some potential aftermath for astronauts when the astronauts will fly much farther to the moon or to the Mars. So there is a couple of scientific, very important experiments. And the other one from the Italian Air Force is focused on trying to provide a kind of tool that astronauts could use even on their own station. In this case, it will be a software demo developed by the Italian Air Force, where I will play with the database trying to see which are the close events where a debris can eventually get closer to the ISS, create a kind of risk. All these risks are daily monitored and controlled by NASA and by the US Space Force. But once we are going to fly much farther, it's a kind of an operational capability that even the farther spacecraft would need to have. And this tool is equipped also with a space weather tool. So it's a kind of combination in between science, operations, and of course from industry. So we will have some experiments with new fabrics and new suits. And this is also amazing because it proves that we can even bring in space a much wider community of potential users and customers.
I'm looking forward to all of our 13 experiments that we will be carrying out, experimenting over there. And just to name two of them, there is Propolis experiment coming from actually middle school children together with their teacher. And we will be looking, searching the effects of propolis in terms of antibacterial effect that is already proved here on Earth. And we will be searching if the effects are matching in the microgravity environments. So I will be just carrying out and using some specimens in different parts of ISS in order to be able to see the effects of these little part of propolis over there in the Petri cups, how they react antibacterial wise. In a second experiment, which is called Extremopit, we will be testing a very endemic plant coming from Turkey, from Salt Lake. That will be exposure to different levels of salt as well as stress, and we will try to measure its reaction in these stressors. So we are looking forward to find out the results which will contribute into the future space ecosystem that is planned over there on the surface of Moon and way forward in Mars.
The portfolio, the set and range of science we're doing is both a combination of from European Space Agency and also from Sweden. And it ranges is quite a wide range. It goes from brain studies, how the brain on a brain level, how the adaptation for an astronaut or human beings in microgravity happens, all the way to tech demos of interaction with artificial intelligence and also controlling avatars, robots on ground from space. And a few things stands out, and one of those is, which been discussed earlier also, stem cell research, MemOBC, where we're bringing stem cells and looking at the Swedish contribution, where we're looking at how these stem cells are affected and their proliferation and how they're how they diversify after, and that effect, how that remains after being in microgravity. It's been tried with the sounding rockets in Sweden before, and now we're getting a longer exposure during this mission on the stem cells. And also we're doing cognitive testing for different environmental effects, and looking at in a project called Orbital Architecture, and trying to learn of how our performance and our cognitive our cognitive performance and stress levels are affected by different environments in this, of course, in space and different places on station as well.
And Alexis, I just want to make clear, I was mentioning the stem cell organizations, and I want to make clear that if I didn't say Sanford, it's not Stanford, it's the Sanford Stem Cell Institute. Thanks.
Clarification. Thank you, Ally. All right, we'll now take a question from Leo Enright.
Thanks very much for doing this. Leo Enright with Irish Television. This is, I guess, from Mike LA. A lot of researchers here in Ireland, I imagine, are green with envy today as they listen to the experiments that you and the crew have been describing. I wondered what you might say to those researchers if they wanted to persuade the Irish government to invest in a commercial opportunity to fly to ISS. I mean, how might they make the business case for spending taxpayers' money?
Well, let's see. The business case is tough because, as you know, especially fundamental research, which tends to be what we do mostly on the ISS, takes a long time to produce a product or a medication or something that, you know, can bring revenue. But I think it's an investment in the future in a non-monetary way. And look, the door is open. As you see, you know, 3 European countries that surround me sitting here have already demonstrated we would love to fly an Irish astronaut and would love to fly Irish research. There are really in unpredictable things that can be done, unknown things that can be done in space. And it just takes the political will of the people and the government to make a commitment to do something. And I think it's a very strong message, not just from a research standpoint, but it also gives a lot of motivation to young people in that country to have a role model like Alper and Marcus and Walter, and to, you know, study hard. As I said, it doesn't need to be, and even in STEM, let's open it up to STEAM and other disciplines. And it also helps to make a stronger technical workforce within the country. So there are numerous benefits that I think would benefit Ireland just as much as any other country. So let's do it.
Thanks, LA. All right, looks like we have time for one last question. So I will call on Melanie Holt.
My question was asked and answered. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. For any follow-up questions, you can email media@axiomspace.com. Today, we will also be sharing detailed information on how to watch the AX3 launch webcast, which will feature an in-depth mission overview ahead of the launch and daring docking. You can follow these updates on the AX3 mission on our website at axiomspace.com and on social media via the hashtag AX3. Thank you again for your time, and as always, go AX3!